Good morning. It's great to be here in person and have the crowd that we've had the past 2 or 3 days post COVID. There's a lot of things that we've learned during COVID and post COVID, but for me personally, one of the things that my in my household that I learned is my son doesn't want to be an engineer. So during COVID, he would come into to my office and sit and listen to me and say, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you talk about these projects all day long or what you got to do. And so I was working with him on getting his driver's license, and he got into the car recently, and he picked up an agenda from a conference similar to this, and he said, well, "What is this?" And I said, "Well, it's a rundown, and it's an agenda of what folks are talking about." And he looked at it, he goes, "Oh, you're on here." And I said, "Yeah." And he looked a little further. He's like, all these people get up and talk about these projects? So I was like, yeah. He said, he got this grimace that come over his face, and he's like, it's like a 3-day nerd show and tell. And so as we come to a close here on the final day of this 3-day conference, I just want to say that it's been great to see everybody. It's been a great conference. I think the presentations have been very powerful and very well done, and very interesting stuff that has been going on the last couple of years we may not have got a chance to talk about. But so today I want to talk to you a little bit about the Highway Knowledge Portal, and David's going to do the lion's share of the discussion here. But the question would be, why do you need a knowledge portal? Well, first of all, we lose institutional knowledge every day. We have folks that leave the cabinet that have things that they've learned over 30 years working for the transportation cabinet, and once they're gone, they're gone. And we have instances where we're able to plug into some people and bring them in and pick their brain about certain things. But the other big part of this is for a younger generation. It's that to carry that torch on. If you think about one of my favorite movies as a kid was Superman, and he throws out the crystal and the Fortress of Solitude grows, and he's in there and he places the first crystal, and he's able to have his mom and dad, speak to him about who he is and where he came from. And that's what this is all about, is create knowledge that we can tap into at any time. It's condensed. It's more of a format that is more acceptable to a younger generation. But one of the other big things and the reasons we're doing it is, if you're going to have a recruitment and retention strategy is having a knowledge portal is a big part of that. So that's why we've been working on this. It's been a great project, and we've made a lot of progress. And so I'm going to let David Moses take it away.
Good morning. This is the first time I've ever been to day 3. This is kind of nice. I didn't know so many people came. And if you think it's impressive that I showed up, my good buddy John Michael showed up too. John Michael, you still here? I don't know. He might have just stopped by as he's come home from the bars, but I did see him and I took a picture, so I have evidence that John Michael was here. He's already left. What about that? So yeah, as Jarrod said, the knowledge portal is a big deal to us. We really take it seriously. I think it's a tremendous benefit to the cabinet. You guys have walked into the cabinet halls lately and just seen how few people are there. And capturing all this knowledge from some of these old guys like Steve Waddle and Jeff Jasper is going to be very important going forward. I think it's not advancing. Well, I've hit every button on this thing and it's not going forward. There it went. Got it. All right. So as you know, probably people who've been at the cabinet for a while know how much guidance there is out there, and it's really overwhelming. And I think this is probably even outdated. They didn't even include the most important guidance manuals that you guys have at the cabinet in this list, I don't think, which is the drainage manual. But they found 32. Yes. And some people think that needs to be changed. I don't understand, but I thought it was perfect. But anyway, 13,000 pages of guidance, and a lot of it is outdated, as you know. There's a lot of redundancies, and often information is difficult to find. Of course, you've had a lot of retirements. You've got some issues with retaining people, so the staff levels are just very low. And You just don't have enough people really to carry out your goals. And that causes knowledge gaps. I remember, due to the varying degrees of experience you have at the cabinet. When I started at the cabinet, my immediate supervisor was Ken Sperry, and then his boss was Bill Julich. And you know, Sackstetter was the director. You had people you had engineers 50, 60, 70 years old sometimes everywhere that you could go ask for guidance, and you just don't have that anymore. And then over time, we've had some contradictions develop in the various guidance manuals we have, and that's just a natural thing. That's going to happen when you're that big. You just can't avoid that. So the purpose of the portal is to kind of have a one-stop place to go, one-stop place to go for all the guidance, and to have it interconnected, right? So if you're in the drainage, if you're reading a drainage article and you have to refer to the design manual, you can just click and go right straight to the design manual. So everything's integrated, and it's just an efficient way to capture all the knowledge. If I were to say what we're doing really mainly is probably synthesizing the guidance that you have and pointing to it and maybe filling in some holes. I mean, there's some things that aren't written down, right, that you guys have done for years, but it's just not written down anywhere. So we're trying to capture all that, connect it together, you know, so it's easier to find information. Another thing that is really important to the project is the younger generation. You guys got a lot of new engineers, and defining what they do and helping them understand what their job is a big part of this. So I know you didn't go into the history, but this has been an idea that's been developed over several years, probably 5, 6 years ago. I know Mr. Jasper was big on the beginning of it, and it was originally known as the Engineering Policy Guide. And they started examining how the other DOTs were presenting their information, and I think Missouri was a big one. Is that the one we kind of looked at? And Missouri's is like a wiki, which I'll go into that a little bit. It's a little different than what we're doing, but it's similar. It's sort of a similar concept. So we gathered all the manuals together, and Mr. Jasper developed the first article, which was on guardrail. Really good. It's published. You should go out there and check it out. It's a really good article. Leadership is in full support of this, and the big thing is it's the cabinet staff that does this. I mean, they're the ones that tell us what to write. They're the ones that control it. So it's really yours. We're just kind of here to carry it out for you. So we call them articles because what we intend to do is each article is a pretty short, I would call it more, maybe the proper word is concise, about a specific topic. And if there's a bunch of topics that are the same or related, we call that a knowledge book, and we kind of group them together. So we go through all your manuals, we develop a team, and we sit down and start writing, and there's a pretty intensive review process that goes on with the development of an article. So this is our review process. So it's pretty rigorous. Every article we have, you know, somebody starts it at the center. Usually it's a subject matter expert of whatever the topic is. And then we'll put our heads together at the center and develop ideas. We may even, in the very beginning, have a brainstorming session with the people that are involved from the cabinet, just to see how this wants to go, how we want to go forward with each article. Then we'll draft it at the center, get it as good as we can. And we have some really brilliant people working at the center that do some technical editing for us, because I tend to butcher the English language when I write. And we've got people that can make my writing sound like Edgar Allan Poe. So it's pretty impressive, some of the guys over at the center. And after they get through with that, we send it to the cabinet for a first look. Maybe multiple people, maybe one person, whoever's on our committee. They send comments back to us. We address those comments and then send it back out for draft again, for review again, and then we'll publish the article on the website. So we're very careful about what we write, and we want you guys obviously to approve of it and help us make sure what we're putting out is right. So I think through that process, you'll find that, you know, it's a pretty good system. Here are the people that mainly the authors of all the articles, and you'll see a lot of these names you probably recognize on this list. We have a lot of people at the center that worked at KYTC that have been in your shoes, fought a lot of the battles you're fighting right now. And believe it or not, somebody was talking about the history of the partnering conference, and I've been to every partnering conference, and we're really kind of talking about the same stuff still that we were 27 years ago or whatever. And it's just, there's perpetual problems, you know? And so this group has been through all that, most of them. And you see our total experience of our authors is 539 years when you add it up. The total internal KYTC experience is 331. So we've got a lot of people with a lot of experience. Luckily, we figured out how to format this in a widescreen format because Bob Lewis and Steve Waddle's number of years of service were so big. I was going to put them in decades, but we found out how to widescreen format this thing so their years of service would fit on the slide, and I think it turned out pretty good. That was a joke. You guys can laugh at that. So I've kind of talked already about this. The articles are concise write-ups about a particular topic. The related articles are grouped together in a knowledge book. And this is what I was kind of alluding to when I said wiki. Wiki is like an open format. I mean, even I could get on wiki and start writing stuff. How sad is that? But this is more controlled. So this is what's a knowledge base is what this is. There's only certain people that can put stuff on our website, and it's not editable by most. So that's really the difference. Sort of still structured like a wiki. Everything's connected together. So they're very similar, but it is different. This is the definition I found online of a knowledge base. A knowledge base is a self-serve online library of information about a product, service, department, or topic. That pretty much describes it. And then I learned this $5 word from my IT guy, Paul. The content is scalable by bootstrapping. I'm not kidding, that's the word. And what that means is you can see this you can see it on a big screen from your computer. You can look at it on your phone. You can look at it on an iPad, and it scales it down to fit all those formats. So that's going to be important going forward. You know how, especially, I mean, all of us, even my generation now, are always walking around looking at their phones. So if somebody's out on a job site and they want to know something about a particular topic, they can look at it right on their phone. I think that's pretty handy. I'm not going to go through all these. I'll leave them up so you can kind of read through them, but this is the articles that are published currently. And the knowledge book, as I was discussing, is on the left and the actual articles on the right. This is Mr. Jasper's brainchild here. And this is basically a guide to project design management. It's really good. But there's like 13 articles in that knowledge book. Give you guys a second just to digest that. So here you can see these articles are not all in one knowledge book. So the knowledge book's on the left, the actual articles on the right. Varying topics. I mean, we're writing from everything from maintenance to planning, just about anything you guys touch right now. One interesting one I'd like to point out, this is Steve Waddle's brainchild, technical support resources. And I think this was a really good idea. This is basically, especially for the younger engineers in the district, it's trying to describe what the central office divisions can do for them. And so we've got one on almost every division. We're still working on a few right now. I think that was a pretty neat idea. Ryan Griffith wrote the one about being a section engineer. So we're going to get more into that. Position duties, describing what position duties in the cabinet. I think that's going to be super helpful for your young employees. And then, you see they're scattered around different things. We've got some pedestrian facilities articles. We got some roadside design articles. So a big version, a big variance of things that we've written about. Here's a knowledge book on heavy equipment. This was Gabe Dottie. And so he goes through all the different types of equipment used in construction and maintenance. Those are gathered in a knowledge book. So this is the topics that are currently in process. They're on that chart somewhere, either being reviewed or being written on. These are not grouped in a knowledge book. Each top, it's two columns basically of different topics. And as you can see, we cover about everything really. We can cover anything you guys want us to cover really, the cabinet folks. Let you look at that for a second. That switch. So here's another, it's just like the other one. This is a whole nother group of topics that we're working on. You can see some of the roadside safety in there. Flexibility and highway design is going to be a good one. That's Keith Caudle. I don't know if you guys know Keith. He's kind of taken some work that Steve Waddle did and Chris Van Dyke, and kind of like, you know, you've been in design meetings where we kind of restrict ourselves with all of our with all of our guidelines, but we do have design exceptions, and not many people use them. So this goes into how to, you know, right size a project. Same thing we've talked about for years. What do we call it? Back in the day, we called it, we had a term for it, context sensitive design. And before that, it was something else, but that's how I would describe this article. So we got a lot of good stuff out there. We'd love to hear articles. If you think there's a topic that needs to be covered, you can talk to anybody at the center, really, and it'll get back to us. But Jerry and I are probably who you need to try to get a hold of if you've got an idea or just a general question or comment or anything like that. We're always available. So give us a call, email us if you like. That is the website. So it's open. We should have made one of those little QR codes for this. I just thought about that yesterday, but pretty easy address to remember. I'll give you guys a second. I know everybody's going to write this down and go immediately to the site. Nobody's writing it down. So I was going to do a little demonstration. It looks like I have time for that. So let's do the questions and comments after the demo. I can't do a live demo, it turns out. Hey, somebody there, see, somebody used it. And these presentations will all be online after this is over, so you can get the address from there. Apparently I can't do a live demo. So luckily I made some screenshots of what I plan to do. So this is our landing page. You see there in the middle is the search bar, and you can type in anything in there. I typed in consultant, and for you consultants, you're going to be thrilled about this. We've got a whole series of articles on how to lower consultant fees. I'm kidding. I'll get jumped as I leave here today. But I typed in consultant in my little demo where I made all these screenshots, and that brought me to this. So you'll get a list after you type in whatever your keyword is, and you see there's a bunch of things that come up. And we have a whole series of articles about administration of consultant contracts. So if you want to be mad at somebody, Ken Sperry actually wrote this before he abandoned us. So it's really Ken's fault that we have this article. So that's what comes up. I think I picked number 2 on this. I don't remember which one. But here, after you click on an article title, that's what you get. You get a contents box and the title of the article. And over on the right, you see the table of contents on the right. As you scroll down, it keeps track of where you're at. So right now I'm in the section, see the when does KYTC use consultants? I'm in that section. As you scroll down through the article, it'll track where you're at. That's pretty handy. And you see about middle of this page, there's a little statement that says additional guidance can be found in professional services guidance manual and highway design guidance manual. So those are links that you can click, it'll take you right to whatever the manual was. So this was highway design that I clicked on here. Some of the articles are also interconnected. Yeah, so down there at the bottom of this page here, you'll see there's another hyperlink to project time management, build your team. So if you click on that, it takes you to the article within the knowledge portal for that topic. So everything's interconnected by hyperlinks. You alternatively could go up to this. If you look at the very top, I'm pointing, you can't see where I'm pointing, can you? I'm pointing at the directory button on the top, just in case you're wondering. If you hit that directory button, you get an alphabetized list of all the articles. And this is the way I like to look at it. I know most people like to do a search, a keyword search, but that will show all the articles alphabetized in the knowledge portal. That's just, I scrolled down, you can see more of them. We have the ability to do some pretty neat diagrams and charts and drawings. It's kind of, being an online format gives you a lot of flexibility with stuff like that. I think that's in Jeff's pedestrian facilities article. So this was, we also have the ability to, like, see a little chart down there. It's kind of hard to see, but if you click on the button, this is one of the technical support resource articles. At the end of every one of these, we have this big chart that shows each unit of a division and how they're interrelated, and it lists the kind of things they do in each one of those branches, if you will, of each division. But if you click on that little expand button, this thing blows up and takes up your whole screen, and you can actually wheel in and out on these charts and move them around like a hand, because they are pretty large. I mean, if you were to print one of these out, it'd be on a 24 by 36 plan sheet probably. So this is a questions, comments screen on the knowledge portal. That's when you click that feedback corrections button at the top. You can, anything, we love to hear your ideas on more articles that we could write. We like to find out if our links are broken. That'd be pretty handy to know, because as this thing grows, there's going to be so many hyperlinks in it that it's going to be virtually impossible to keep up with. But anything you want to put in here, any comment, any question, we'll get back to you. And so please take advantage of that. And that's the end of my presentation. So I'll open it up to questions. No questions? So yes, we have thought about that just now. We just, that's a great idea, Bob. We're on top of it. We got it. I got it. I think they got me on film. So yeah, we got it. Anybody else? Yeah. We referenced the green book. We can't, I don't think we can show it though. I mean, ASHTO wants to be paid for that. You know how that is. And that thing ain't cheap. So I doubt we could show it, but we reference it, obviously. Jeff's done some stuff that references it. So.
And I just want to say that it's for everybody that works in the cabinet and cabinet partners. So if you have interest, if there's things that you want to see, let us know. It's for you. And it's the other cool thing that we didn't talk about is, as you read through, if there's things that you feel like, that's not quite how we do things, or we've just made a change in our business process, you can just email us and we can change those. I mean, it's online format, so it's very easy to change very quickly.
Yeah, you think about the process of how we change guidance now, like in design, we have the design manual, obviously, and then we do all these memos, and it's just hard to keep up with that. We can do this instantaneously, change it within the hour if you've got something that needs to be changed. Yeah. Yes, we are. That is something that not me, brighter person than me, came up with that. But we are going to start kind of having announcements, if you will, like a quarterly, what do we call that? I forgot what we call it, a quarterly update or something on it. So yeah, we are going to start doing that.
Yeah. We just finally got to a point. I published a very dirty version of this about a year ago with some PDFs and things like that. While we've been working with Paul and some folks over at KTC to get this in this format. That's more of a WordPress format, because we were limited with SharePoint, very limited in my opinion. But yeah, this is the, we're rolling, we're talking about it here, and then I'm going to talk with Notori about some ways we can get it out there.
Absolutely. Yes, that's a good question.
I mean, our first thought was to have them on the website. If you're there and you're seeking knowledge, that would be the place that you would find some of those.
We're looking for somebody to hand out flyers in Louisville. Are you interested?
Yeah, I mean,
Steve.
the last thing I want to do is create a newsletter, right? I mean, it's
Well, we haven't thought through that completely. I mean, this came up recently.
yeah, not
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Everybody, you got that? Yeah. Oh yeah. We do advertise some of the stuff on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm not saying it. Yeah, I can't. That was a lengthy question. Thank you for that. So I'm going to give you a short answer. I think we could use this however the cabinet wants us to use it. I mean, the possibilities are kind of limitless. I mean, and if FHWA wants the cabinet to do that, I think they'll probably be pretty keen on that. I don't know, but I think we could use this for anything. I think locals, I've definitely thought of that coming from the LPA world. I know that a lot of localities could really use some guidance on how to meet all the requirements of the federal guidelines. So yeah, I think the answer is yes to both of those, but my boss here may object to that. I don't know.
No, I totally agree. And that's eventually, I think, where we'll get. Are we there right now? Not entirely. We're just starting to build this thing out. So it's kind of internalized but there is information I think that locals can use. As that knowledge begins to grow and our reach of this information, the structured information is out there, I think we'll work to push that. We'll work with LTAP and have that ability to go out there. They're working on something that's pretty similar as well, Bode. I don't know if you want to catch Martha, but this idea all come together and they're working on something that's very similar for locals as well.
It did. I don't know why your question reminded me of this, but I looked at Paul and we were talking about this last week, but we're discussing some articles on some construction items, if you will. One is turf reinforcing mat. I know a lot of people hate those things, but we can actually put videos in these things. So we're talking about either making or finding one from the Erosion Control Technology Council that shows a proper installation of these things. So when you read the article, you can just click on this video and watch a video of the proper installation of a turf reinforcing mat. That's pretty powerful. You couldn't really do that with the old guidance manuals. So I think it's limitless what we can do with this thing. And I think we're interested in doing whatever the cabinet, however the cabinet wants us to use it, we'll certainly do that. There is one right now.
Yeah. So the very dirty version that I created in the beginning, if you are on our website, KYTC's website, and you type in Highway Knowledge Portal, it will take you to a page which I've removed all the PDFs since we have this version out there, and it does provide a link. The link to our page is quite lengthy versus this one. So I think this one's able to be memorized pretty quickly. I think some of your question may be that, are we ever going to house it on our website? There's some difficulties with that, just in format and some of the software we may transition over to something on our website, but I think right now it's pretty doubtful. But OIT is not they prefer us to use SharePoint versus WordPress, and WordPress gives you a much better searchability. It's easier to bootstrap. It's more easily able to embed videos. I think when you get on the landing page, you'll see something that is unlike most of the things that you see out there. So I'm really pleased with it, but I don't know that we're ready to move that format over to our servers just yet. Does that answer your question?
See, I told you guys bootstrap was a word. Bob, you've already had your allotment of questions. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, totally.
If we don't have that disclaimer up there right now, we will, Bob, and I'm pretty sure it's there, and it's pretty bold that this is for educational purposes only.
Any other questions? All right, well, thanks for your time.